This chapter, Chapter 8, is longer than I wanted, so I split the chapter into 2 segments. If you have not enjoyed the first section, please do. This is the second section, Chapter 8-2.
Amber's shift began at midnight. Fortunately, the night was a quiet one. Susie worked on her drawing until about 4 a.m. She straightened up and asked Amber to look at her work. Amber brought over 2 cups of coffee and gave one to Susie. Amber examined the lab photos and Susie's sketch. Then she took a magnifying glass and examined the photos very closely. "Susie, what's that?" Pointing to a smear in the 3/4 view. "It's on his face, on the side, not in the profile." Susie took the glass and looked closely. "I don't know. A scar?" Susie sat down and started to drift off. Suddenly, she stood up. "I know that face. I've seen someone like this in the grocery store. Last week, I saw him in the grocery store last week. I remember that scar." She began to sketch in the scar. Suddenly, Amber almost shouted, "I know that face. I put him in jail 5 years ago for armed robbery." She went to the office files and dug around until she brought out the man's rap sheet and mugshot. Amber went to the comm center and transmitted the name of the suspect to all deputies on duty. She directed that everyone stop by the office to pick up the suspect's mugshot. About 6:30 in the morning, Sheriff Murdoch walked into the office. Amber briefed me on how Steve's organized the department. So Amber told him about the deputies only working in pairs and the 12-hour shifts. Sheriff Murdoch paused and then spoke. "That makes a lot of sense. What about you? What's your shift?" Amber replied, "My shift is midnight to noon. Steve relieves me. I guess we are the odd ones out. We stay here in C&C. Steve's got a schedule worked out for the next week. Everyone gets a turn here, and everyone gets a turn out there." Then the sheriff asked about the case. "Have we found anything?" Amber told the sheriff about the surveillance tapes from Alan's neighbors, the State Bureau of Investigation Lab's enhancement of the pictures, and Susie's sketch bringing to Amber's mind a man she had arrested 5 years ago for armed robbery, and her finding that man's rap sheet and mugshot. Then Amber looked at the sheriff. "Sir, you should not be here. You need to be home, where Amanda can take care of you. If you don't trust me, I can call Steve and have him relieve me." The sheriff replied, "I trust you, Alan, and Steve more than anyone else. It's just that I've been sheriff in this county a long time, and I just can't let it go. But I'll go home now." Amber put her arms around him. "Do you need a ride? I'll call Ty to take you home." He answered, "That would be swell, thanks." 7 o'clock and Steve came into the office. "Amber, I heard the sheriff came in." She replied, "Yep, about 6:30. He asked for a briefing, and I told him everything. Then I sent him home." Steven smiled. "That must have taken a bucket of guts. Our sheriff is the best, but he's an ornery cuss." She replied, a tear running down her cheek, "You know, Steve, there are 4 guys I love more than life: Paul, Alan, John, and my little son." It hurt to see John in such obvious pain. Such a big, strong man, taken down by a couple of ounces of lead. Steven frowned, but a very dedicated cop. Steven went on, "Brief me, Amber. What have we found?" Amber told him about Susie's sketch and her recognition of the individual in the drawing. The fact that she found the suspect's rap sheet and mug shot and her passing out copies of the mug shot to the deputies on duty. "I have enough copies of the mug shot for the rest of the department when they come on duty." As they talked, they were interrupted by the radio. "Dispatch, this is Unit MV11. I have the suspect in view. He is standing outside the grocery store. I would guess he's waiting for it to open. Please advise." Steven grabbed the mic. "Unit MV11, wait for backup. All units, 1040, silent run, no lights, no siren, converge on the grocery store 1093, blockade." Over the radio came a series of 10-4s. Amber spoke up, "You or me, Steve?" Steven replied, as he grabbed his vest, "I go, you stay and coordinate." Amber replied, "But this is my shift." Steven shouted as he hit the door, "I go, you stay." Amber suddenly heard a chorus of 1023s, arrived on scene. She began assigning positions to the several units. She became very busy, no time to pout. Amber called the grocery store. "Vic, this is Deputy Clark. We have spotted a murder suspect in your parking lot. Please do not open your door until we notify you, it's all clear." The store owner, Vic Kelly, responded, 10-4 Amber. Amber radioed Steven, Unit MV02. "I called Vic and asked him not to open the store until we notify him. He's agreed. Over the radio, 10-4 dispatch. Then again over the radio, all units, weapons ready, approach suspect now. Amber listened, hardly breathing. Then the radio again, dispatch, 1095, suspect in custody, 1076, en route, C&C. Amber, elated, responded, 10-4, unit MV02. Okay, to call Vic and give him the all clear? Stephen replied, 10106, status is secured. A few minutes later, Stephen entered with the two biggest deputies in the department, escorting the suspect to be booked and jailed. Stephen came around the desk and put the suspect's belongings in an envelope, Amber cataloging each item. Then he pulled a plastic bag out of his vest pocket containing a pistol. Amber, have we got the bullets from Alan and John here? She replied, why yes. In the evidence locker. Stephen took a deep breath. Would you get them please? I'm going to have Sally and Jim take them to the bureau lab to see if they match. Stephen smiled. Amber, you are relieved. Go home, tell Alan, tell Paul, tell John. I believe we got him. Amber sighed. 10-4 Steve. Amber drove to Alan's home and knocked on the door. Roger opened the door. Deputy Amber, come in. Dad and Sheriff John are in the dining room. As she entered the dining room, I'm glad you're both here. We got him. Alan stood and walked over to her. She looked up at him and began to cry. Alan put his arms around her. Troubles, partner? She looked into his eyes. No. Just tired and relieved. Sheriff Murdoch came around the table, too. He took Amber in his arms and laughed. Great work, Amber, great work. Now, you need to get home. She smiled through her tears. I'm going. Steve wanted me to tell you, both of you. Oh, Alan, may I use your phone? I want to tell Susie. She's worked hard on this case too. Alan waved toward the phone. Be my guest. Deputies Sally and Jim took the gun and bullets to the State Bureau of Investigation's lab and turned the evidence over to the technician. They waited for the results and the evidence to be returned to them. When they got the results, they phoned Stephen. Steve, the tech says it's a positive match. They got prints off the pistol and the shells still in the magazine, a positive match to our suspect. Looks like we got the right guy. Stephen replied, great. Come home. We'll put everything in the evidence locker, and you're off for the weekend. 10-4? They replied, 10-4. Susan returned from the clinic about 5 in the afternoon to find Paul and Amber Clark and their kids, Ty and Susie Varney and their kids, Amanda and Teresa, all sitting and chatting in the living room. And Alan, Sheriff Murdoch, Amber, Stephen, and Roger all clustered in the kitchen. Well, what's going on, guys? Alan and Stephen turned to answer. Roger's making macaroni and cheese for dinner, and we are supervising. Susan looked wide-eyed. For everyone? Alan smiled. Yeah, it's a celebration. Susan turned to Amber. Celebrating what? Amber replied, haven't you heard? We got the cop killer. The evening was spent having dinner, chatting, laughing. Generally, everyone relieved and enjoyed the company. Finally, Amanda stood. John, it's getting late, and our little girl needs her rest. Paul said much the same thing, as did Ty. Alan said, as much as I have enjoyed the evening, I must rest, and I know our esteemed sheriff needs his rest as well. Good night, everyone. Roger was sent off to bed, and Alan and Susan retired to their bedroom, too. Susan turned to Alan. Sweetheart, I hope you're not too tired for a little fun. Alan's face turned into a make-believe leer. I was, but I'm not too tired now. Come 8 o'clock, and the little family was up, dressed, and having breakfast. Susan finished flipping the flapjacks and served breakfast. Roger, what are you going to do today? Roger looked up. Stay here and take care of Dad and mow the lawn, I guess. Alan smiled. Son, I can take care of myself. The lawn doesn't need to be mowed until Saturday. Wouldn't you like to visit Teresa? Roger's face lit up. Well, yes, I would like to visit Teresa. His face took on a serious expression. But, I need to take care of you, and Teresa needs to take care of Sheriff John. Alan winked at Susan. Why don't you call her and work out a plan to visit each other and still take care of Sheriff John and me? Roger looked dubious. Well, I'll call her and see what she thinks. Uncle Chet was able to get a job at the local lumberyard. He would visit about once a month and endear himself with Alan's little family. Sheriff Kent in Henry County began an investigation of Seth Allen with the intent to possibly exonerate Chester Allen. Sheriff Murdoch walked into the office at 8 o'clock. Stephen was already there. Sheriff, you should be home where Amanda and Teresa can take care of you. The sheriff growled, Steve, I'll go home. But I want you to contact the State Bureau of Investigation and tell them about our suspect. There have been a lot of officers gunned down this year. Maybe, just maybe, our prisoner is the cop killer, and maybe we can close a lot of cases around the state." Stephen nodded. "I'll do that, John, but you, go home until Dr. Phillips clears you for duty." "Okay?" The sheriff looked a little sheepish. "Okay, Steve, I'm gone." Stephen did as the sheriff directed. It was found that their suspect had killed 13 officers in every part of the state. The state attorney general was given all the evidence, and the case and the suspect were turned over to the state authorities. The State Bureau of Investigation's evidence, along with the testimony of Amber, Bill and Andy, Alan's neighbors, Susie, and Stephen, helped to put the killer away in maximum security for the rest of his life. In all, 11 cases were closed. Evidence in the other 3 cases was inconclusive. However, in everybody's mind, all the cases were solved, and the cop killer put away for the rest of his life. It was a couple of weeks later when Susan and David cleared Alan and Sheriff Murdoch for limited duty. The sheriff assigned Amber and Alan to patrol duty. They would be together and would continue to be together until Alan was released for full duty. As Amber drove, they patrolled County Road 11, cornfields on the left side of the road, an overgrown bar ditch on the right. As they drove along, they chatted about anything while still watching the area. Suddenly Alan spotted something in the bar ditch. "Stop. Look there in the ditch. Call dispatch, 1054D, possible dead body." Alan got out of the patrol car and walked to the ditch. "Amber, we are going to need CSI, crime scene investigators." The body of a 9 or 10-year-old girl, naked, lay before them. Alan reached down and felt the neck of the body. He continued, "Body still warm. Seems like sexual assault." After relaying the information to the dispatch, Amber came around toward the body. "Oh. Alan." She turned and began to vomit. Alan came around to her and tried to help her. As she straightened, "Oh Alan, we've seen a lot of dead bodies, but this, I can't." She turned and continued with the dry heaves. Alan put his arms around her and just held her while they waited for CSI. After a short while, Alan and Amber taped off the crime scene area and guarded the scene until relieved. CSI had to come out of the State Bureau of Investigation. They arrived by helicopter after about an hour, 2 CSI investigators, and a bureau officer. At the same time, Sheriff Murdoch drove up and got out of his patrol car. The bureau officer began to order, in sharp tones, Alan and Amber to some menial tasks. "Hey, you two, go down about 100 yards and stop traffic." But Sheriff Murdoch called out, "Alan, Amber, stand fast. Drake, this is my crime scene. These are my officers. I did not ask for you. I asked for CSI. Drake, the bureau officer, turned. "John, we thought you were still laid up. That's why the chief had me come to take control." Sheriff Murdoch smiled. "Drake, it's good to see you. But you don't order my officers around, I do. Amber, Alan, block the road back at Road 6. Mark a detour around to Road 13, then at Road 8, back to Road 11. The signs are in the trunk of my patrol car." Amber and Alan got the detour signs and set out to mark the route. As they drove off they heard, "John, you haven't changed a bit. Still taking care of your people better than any other sheriff or police chief." Amber and Alan drove to the necessary intersections and placed the detour signs. As she drove the patrol car, Amber turned to Alan. "May I tell you why that girl's body upset me so much?" He replied, "I'm your partner, your friend, you can tell me anything." She began to tell him about an incident when she was 9 years old. It was summer, and a bunch of us kids were playing down by our family's cornfield. It was fun up, till the point someone suggested they all pull my clothes off. I tried to run, but everyone grabbed me and started to pull my pants off. I screamed and fought, but everyone held me down, even the other girls. Then the oldest boy pulled my panties off, then pulled his pants down. Everybody laughed, and no matter how much I screamed, fought, and begged, they held me down. That boy got between my legs and started, but then my brother ran up and beat the snot out of him. Everybody got scared and ran. Kurt, my brother, helped me get dressed again, and then he held me close for a long time. I loved Kurt. You're a lot like him, and when you hold me, like today, it feels just like being held by Kurt. Thank you, Alan. I love you, brother. A tear in his eye, Alan said, I wish I had a sister like you. I love you, sis. Over the radio, Units MV03 and 04. This is Unit MV01, return to the crime scene. Alan keyed the radio, 10-4. Amber turned back on Road 11 and drove toward the crime scene. Alan looked at his partner. You said you loved him, emphasis on the loved. She stopped the patrol car and turned to Alan. He was a Marine, killed in Vietnam. Alan took her hand. I'm sorry. She went on, I know there were a lot of Marines in Vietnam, but maybe you knew him. Corporal Curtis Jennings, Beat Company, 3rd Marine Regiment. Alan thought a moment. Yes, I knew him. Not well, but we worked together a while. Looked a lot like me. Amber teared up. Oh, Alan. Will you be my brother? He smiled. Yes, I'll be your brother, sis. She started driving again, smiling through her tears. They arrived at the crime scene, and Sheriff Murdoch approached them. Well, CSI is going to be here for a few more hours. It's late. You two clock out and go home. I've called Sally and Ty to guard the scene until morning. Should be able to remove the tape and detour signs then. Amber and Alan saluted, 10-4. Morning, Alan and Amber reported for duty. Stephen called to them, hey you two, Sheriff wants to see you in his office. They both responded, 10-4, and went to the sheriff's office. Sheriff Murdoch was on the phone and waved them into the office in 2 chairs. The sheriff set down the phone. Well, I want you two to go to the Bureau's CSI lab. I have arranged for you to work with CSI for 2 months. You will work there Monday morning through Friday night. Then, you may come home for the weekend. I have arranged quarters at the Highway Patrol Barracks. We got the cop killer, they think they owe us. You two are one of my best teams. I want you to become the backbone of our own CSI. Alan looked at Amber. Hey, sis, that's gonna be tough. No home cooking for a week at a time. Amber said, well, bro. We better get packed. When are we supposed to be there? The sheriff replied, tomorrow at 8. Go home. Tell your family and pack. You'll have to leave here about 5 to get there on time. Alan smiled. So sis, shall I pick you up in the morning? She replied, okay. Sheriff Murdoch looked up. What's this, bro? Sis stuff? Alan and Amber replied, we have vowed to be brother and sister to each other. We are partners, friends, and now brother and sister. And they left the office and went home.